Did you know that there's a difference between project manager and a project coordinator? Oftentimes these roles can get quite muddied in an organization, which can lead to missed work, missed tasks being done, and then just the overall affects the project's outcome. If there's something that you're dealing with, well, stay tuned because this video is for you. We are actually going to be discussing what are the differences between a project manager and a project coordinator. Also, I'll be providing with you a few as to why these roles can get mixed up, and then some of the key benefits as to what can happen when these roles work together. I'm Darius, and I'm a certified project manager with experience in managing complex projects within large organizations as well as small organizations. And I'm here to help you master the art of project management and to turn your team into a high-performing machine. So whether you're a business owner, whether you're a project manager, or an aspiring leader, this video is for you. But before we get started, please like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you would like to get more tips on how to take your project management skills to the next level. If there's anyone that you believe that this video can also help, please share with your network as well. It would be greatly appreciated. But with that said, and without further ado, let's dive right in. Before we get started on talking about what the roles are and the differences, let's talk about why these roles get confused, right? And what are some of the impact. So for starters, a lot of the impact that comes from these roles being confused is that the projects won't finish on time. They'll also have budget overruns, and then also the scope won't be managed effectively, which will drastically decrease the quality that's being produced with that project. And sometimes these organizations can actually have these roles muddied for a couple of reasons. And one of those reasons is that they were told that they needed the roles, but then were not guided as to how to effectively implement the roles. There may be a lack of understanding of said roles, where it's like, okay, I thought these were maybe the same, or maybe they're not. And in turn, you're hiring for those roles and are not filling with the right talent, therefore affecting your projects. Then there are also opportunities where your org structure just isn't properly defined. So you're not quite sure where these roles should land and who should be doing what and who should be managing in which role. And then lastly, sometimes these roles, unfortunately, are used as a way to cut back on cost. And that is just due to the fact that hiring a project coordinator might be more inexpensive than hiring a project manager. So some organizations might just say, you know what, I have a budget for this, I'm going to put a coordinator role and then ask them to do project management. All of these reasons, of course, bring negative side effects to your projects and your project completion capabilities, just for the fact that if you're not hiring the right talent for those roles, then they're not going to be able to support your projects the way they are needed to and then get them across the finish line. Outside of not completing your projects efficiently, they might also struggle to manage the team. And that can lead to a lot of conflict between the team members as well as the project coordinator or manager that's currently in the role. I mean, your team is there to support the project, and you're there as a project manager or coordinator to support the team. And if that's not working well, then it is going to affect how you complete your project. Lastly, without a clear identification, the impact of this is that tasks are just not going to be done. They're going to be missed. Folks are not going to know who and what to do in which one. And then that'll just lead to a lot of confusion for your team members. So it's better to just have these roles identified, figure out what they actually are, hire the right staff so this way they can fill the role effectively, and then let them support the project so that they can be completed on time. But after this video, you'll get to actually get an understanding of what the roles are and the differences between the roles, and hopefully you can take this and use it to help support your project so that this way your projects are delivering quality work that satisfies your customers. They're delivering it within budget. They're also delivering it within scope, schedule, and time. So without further ado, let's talk about what is the differences between the two roles. So what is a project manager? So the project manager's role is to actually manage the planning, the execution, and then also the closing of a project. And they do this by supporting the project's in the schedule, managing the project's budget, managing the project's scope, and then just ensuring that the quality meets the client's satisfaction. A lot of their role also leads towards leading the team and ensuring that the team is moving forward effectively, but also collaboratively. They're there to also manage the risk on the project and just make sure that they can mitigate any issues that arise from the team or within the project itself. And then they just ensure that all objectives and deliverables are completed within the project, as well as they do a lot of the client engagement and management as well. So they're there to make sure that no matter what happens, this project moves forward on time, on budget, on schedule, that the project was properly planned for, that the team is executing it effectively, and that it closes out in a well-fashioned way where you're getting the actual deliverables done for the client. A project manager's role is to make sure that that process is as smooth as possible for all of his team members, and that everyone is working together and collaboratively, both internally and externally, to ensure that the project completes on time. That is the role of the project manager. So now, what is the role of a project coordinator? So the project coordinator's role is actually to support the project manager in getting all of these items done. So their role is to do a lot of the administrative tasks, such as scheduling meetings, such as taking notes during meetings, such as just in checking in with the team, such as maybe doing some reports that lead to what can be interpreted by the project manager. Even in some aspects, they could be doing some of the tracking of some of that work. That just takes off a lot of the administrative tasks of that project manager. And that is something that the coordinator does. So the coordinator does a lot of what the title kind of says. They're doing the coordination. They're not planning. They're working with the team to execute, but the project manager kind of does all of that. And then also when it comes to closing, they're there to support the project manager as well. So you have the project manager doing a lot of the managing and ensuring that the project is completed, and then the project coordinator supporting the manager and getting the projects to their finish line. These roles are definitely different, and there are definitely some key benefits to having these roles different. And once you can get them to work together, that is where the magic truly happens, right? Because if there's a project manager and a project coordinator on a team, then it ensures that the team can get work done a little bit more effectively. It does streamline a lot of work between the project manager and the project coordinator. It allows the project manager to work on a lot more work, so that project manager can now take on more projects because they're not worried about the administrative work, but instead they can focus on a lot of the overarching stuff about planning the project, putting the project charter together, or putting the project plan together, and then meeting with the team, and then working with the stakeholders and communicating effectively and making sure that the project is strategically aligned with the business or client that y'all are working with. But then having that coordinator now can do all of the administrative work. So if there's a meeting notes that can go out to the team as a follow-up to that meeting, then the coordinator can step in and take on that documentation of those notes, and then ensure that the team has it. And that's just how that they can work together. And this has shown to improve project outcomes, but also improve the efficiency between the project team. These roles work together synergistically when it comes to how the administrative tasks versus the actual strategic processes that the project manager takes on. So it splits that up so that this way the work can move in a more streamlined way. After speaking on what is a project manager and what is a project coordinator, and is getting some ideas as to what are the key benefits of having these roles split, we can then see why it is important to ensure that these roles are split. Just keeping in mind that these are the differences between project managers and project coordinators, ensuring that your organizations are actually effectively hiring for the roles needed, and then also placing the right responsibility on each. It is easy to just say, I have a coordinator here, I'm gonna just plop them into managing projects and they're gonna figure it out. But the reality is that often leads to your projects not being completed successfully. So if we can continue to tackle those problems, we can continue to improve the outcomes of our project. So as you move forward, just ensure that the roles are effectively split within your organization. If you need any help or would like to speak on this further or in more detail, I'll leave a Calendly link in the description below, so that this way we can schedule some time for a 30-minute consultation. And it's free, of course, so there's no charge to you, but we can have that conversation as to what these differences are and where you might need to implement them better in your organization. But with that said, please like the video and subscribe if you would like to get more tips, as I'll continue to talk about differences in the roles that align with project management that might be in your organization. And again, if you find this helpful, just share this with anyone in your network. And overall, it's excited to continue to have these conversations with you all. If you have any tips or tricks and you want to add to this conversation, please drop them in the comment section below. And with that said, let's continue to move forward in project management, and let's continue to turn ideas ideas into reality. And with that said, I appreciate each and every one of you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.